What is going on, YouTube? So, scrolling through the comments and looking for one more video to do today. Like I said, in my past two videos, including my channel update video, I really am trying to stop filming at night with this already because it gives a bad glare to make my eyes really dark, which looks kind of weird. Anyway, last video I made was talking about Derrick Rose trade rumors to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and another set of trade rumors that I wanted to get to is ones that have kind of died out a little bit for the time being, but it's Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, because it's two very interesting situations. Paul George, that situation very near and dear to my heart. I'm a huge Indiana Pacers fan, so I kind of hope he doesn't go, but I'll dive right into it. So I'm going to talk about a few trade destinations that I think make a lot of sense for both players and why, and maybe some deals that could get done with the NBA trade deadline fast approaching. So, start with Paul George, Indiana Pacers, small forward / power forward. Paul George's contract does expire in this coming off season. So the Pacers have already been shopping him a little bit. I know a few days ago, one of the bigger pieces of news was the Pelicans inquiring about him. But that's probably died out at this point, with them giving up a lot of their assets to go out and get another superstar in DeMarcus Cousins from the Sacramento Kings. Now, the other team in that deal, the Kings, that's still a possibility in my mind. You get Paul George, you got some pieces that you might be able to shift over again with guys like Tyreke Evans and Langston Galloway, and then some draft picks to work with as well, along with some other pieces still on your team, because you gave up your superstar, but that's all you gave up to get quite a few pieces in return. And, if Paul George is a guy that, the Kings GM really Vlade Divac basically really feels like he fits in well in Sacramento, then that could be a piece to work around in the future as well. It gives a new direction for the Kings to go in. The Atlanta Hawks is another destination I think makes a lot of sense for Paul George. He gets to stay in the East. I would say for Paul George to still be the main focal point on a team, to stay in the East. He's had decent success against LeBron. In my opinion, it's either him or John Wall right now as the second best player in the Eastern Conference, because you don't have the Warriors, the Spurs, James Harden with the Rockets, Russell Westbrook with the Thunder. You don't have as many superstars out in the East as you do in the West, obviously. A lot less talent individually. But the Atlanta Hawks is a really interesting idea because they are a team that's already competing in the East. They're not competing isn't, they could be like a second round and out playoff team. But, they do have some assets they could give up. They already ended up trading Jeff Teague over to the Pacers. So they've made a deal in the past. And, Paul Millsap, I know, has been on the block for a little bit, and Paul Millsap might be a nice little piece that the Pacers can move in next to Miles Turner to form a good front court there. Might be a piece they could work with. And the third and final option, which is actually the most intriguing to me, is the Orlando Magic. Obviously, the biggest reason Frank Vogel being over with the Orlando Magic, the coach that has been with Paul George throughout his entire career in Indiana, up until this year when Nate McMillan took over in Indianapolis. So you get that relationship that's already been formed between the two of them. And the Magic have quite a few pieces that are expendable right now. I think Nick Vucevic is a piece that they'll probably give up pretty soon. And, you got some other players that you'd be able to work with too, maybe Elfrid Payton or something like that, some draft picks. Obviously, they already dealt Victor Oladipo in the offseason, so that would have been one of their more attractive trade pieces at this point in the season, but that's long gone. So, let's move over to Carmelo Anthony with the New York Knicks. So, this has less of an effect now. Before you guys go and comment, Carmelo Anthony already said that he's staying in New York. I saw that. I know that the rumors have been dying out. But also keep this in mind for the near future if he does get moved during the off season or next season, anywhere in the near future. So three very, very intriguing, I think, trade opportunities or destinations for Carmelo Anthony to go. First one is the Los Angeles Clippers. So obviously the Clippers, there's been a lot surrounding the Clippers with, is Blake Griffin going to leave? When is CP3 going to leave? How long is DeAndre Jordan going to be there? I think DeAndre Jordan's going to be there the longest out of the rest of them. But Blake Griffin obviously already came out and said that he's going to resign with the Clippers. So they still do have some trade pieces to work with if they want to move some draft picks or something. depending on how much the Knicks give up or want in return for Melo, it'd be a pretty cool situation to see Carmelo Anthony maybe playing at the 3 over in LA. The Boston Celtics. This one I think is the most intriguing. You know, he gets to stay up in the Northeast, gets to compete against LeBron with right now the second best team in the East. Now, obviously, the tough part with this is you put 2 ball-dominant players between Isaiah Thomas and Carmelo Anthony on the same team. Granted, 2 different types of scorers. Obviously, you got one in the front court, you got one in the back court, so that might be able to work out well together. You add a little bit of floor spacing in. But how much would the Celtics have to give up? I think that's a big question they got. They got a good thing going right now. Do they want to, you know, kind of mess that up? I think if they were able to bring Carmelo Anthony, though, then that'd be a yes. Third and final one is the Washington Wizards. You know, he'd probably end up taking the spot for Otto Porter over there at the 3 or the 4. You know, Otto Porter would still obviously be a key part unless he was traded. But the Wizards have a lot of assets right now. You know, this is a team with a lot of momentum. Adding a guy like Carmelo Anthony might be able to put them in that coveted spot as being the second best team in the East. You know, Kevin Love having injury problems right now, that might make the Cavs a little bit vulnerable. Give a team like the Wizards or the Celtics a chance. You know, the Wizards gave the Cavs a really good run for their money in a very recent game. So that's something to pay attention to. But guys, I gotta get going out of here. So that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, guys, fun to talk about, and I'm gonna continue covering this over the next couple days. But anyway, that's pretty much it. See ya.